sports talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, big undisputed heavyweight fight everybody seems to be talking about, which is not really true, but a lot of people seem to want this fight. And that would be against WBC champion Tyson Fury and all other belt champion Anthony Joshua for undisputed somewhere, sometime soon in 2021. Right? I'm going to tell you, I think that fight is going to be a major flop, massive flop, huge flop, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a flop. And I got a few reasons why. Right? Let's start with the first of all, you got the WBO mandatory challenger and boxing royalty, Alexander Usyk. When Alexander Usyk needs his shot, because he's mandatory, this is boxing royalty, then damn it, he's supposed to get it, because it's boxing royalty. Anybody don't think that about Alexander Usyk, you shouldn't be watching the rest of these boxers. If you have somebody who was undisputed at cruiserweight and went to everybody's backyard to do it, that is unprecedented in the world of sport and boxing for the longest. No one acts like that. Nobody. No matter how much we like somebody, going to people's backyards and becoming undisputed is absolutely extraordinary, and he should deserves his shot. Now, there's going to be some back and forth with that. Now, I'm going to do a video about Eddie Hearn complaining about the sanction bodies now, which is a lot of hypocrisy in that. But that's, it's enough material there for its own video. But at the end of the day, they want Alexander Usyk to step aside so Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury can have this undisputed fight. Well, let's make sure this is clear. If this undisputed fight is not in England, where the only interest is, basically, in England, it's going to have problems. It has to be in England and should be in a stadium somewhere, and that's just impossible right now. So you're not going to have a live gate, and you got to be careful because the interest won't be there. And you have an issue if it's in England. We can't forget that Tyson Fury doesn't have a license in England because he was doped, and the BBOC, right, Triple BOC, British Boxing Board of Controls, and UCAD waiting for him. They didn't, he had no license. He laid the license down to go fight in America. Now you're trying to fight back in England. That's an issue. So they're going to have to solve that problem. And then there's going to be people who's watching closely. Now, why did this dope dude get his license again? Right? You're going to have problems with that. Right? So if that fight is anywhere besides England, a lot of people are not going to be paying attention like they expect. Now, they're talking about these guys getting $100 million or more a piece. Trying to do that in a pandemic, no matter who you are, is going to be an issue. Right? Let's make sure this is clear. Tyson Fury is not big as the America's people are thinking. When he fought, Swartz and Wallen, didn't he have 3,000 people in the crowd? Not more than 4,000. And by the second fight with Wallen, right? That's not interest, people. That was before the pandemic. They weren't that interesting. He's going to need a big name, right? Remember when Anthony Joshua fought Povetkin, right? Instead of Deontay Wilder at the time. He fought Povetkin. What happened? Only 17 million people, 17,000 viewed it on the zone in America. 17,000. 15,000 of them had to be British. There's not an interest in these people like people think. And I know that we think that Gennady Golovkin, Tyson Fury, or Lomachenko, guys like that we're trying to thrust on the people. They never do real good numbers unless they're fighting somebody like GGG with Canelo. With anybody else, his numbers are not big. Lomachenko's numbers are not big with anybody. See? So it's not what people think. And I know that we always try to ignore when there's black people are disgruntled, right? But when it comes to the Deontay Wilder situation and all the things that we know about that situation, no one wants to check into what's going on with him and Tyson Fury. People are not going to be watching Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua, right? I know I physically can't do that knowing that they just ignored this man, right? So I know I wouldn't be the only one that's thinking like that. So we're going to have to see what happens. There's going to be a lot of people boycotting that fight that people don't realize that's going to boycott that fight, right? So let's just make sure that a lot of people understand what Tyson Fury is. Got him off the couch in his worst time of his career, Deontay Wilder, and then Tyson Fury was allowed to fight him and then go fight other people instead of him when he was going to do the rematch. Deontay Wilder could have easily went the other way after he got a draw with Tyson Fury, but he didn't. And now Tyson Fury is able to say, I am not going to fight Deontay Wilder anytime ever because he's insulted me. You understand? Tyson Fury who lives from insulting people. All of a sudden. So there's another reason to not fight Deontay Wilder. People are not stupid. I know we don't care what happens to black people or what we have, what our problem is with something. But this one you'll see. That's going to be a big issue. Now, be careful because they might have the only way that they can have that fight is to franchise Tyson Fury. Right? Give him a franchise title or something like that because that's the only way that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a flop, guys. Right? I think it's going to be a flop. Now, Fury's allowed to say he's not going to fight Deontay Wilder. Canelo Alvarez is allowed to say he's not going to fight Demetrius Andrade because he doesn't like his style. People are fed up. And I'm telling you, they need to just say, wait, we'll just go hold up on this fight and do it the right way. And don't just ignore that people have issues with Deontay Wilder's situation. And now, even if Deontay Wilder wins the mediation, then what's going to happen is he still doesn't have to fight him, and you're going to try to have that fight. Now they're putting Dillian White and Derek Chisora in Deontay Wilder's face like that's who he should fight. Dillian White again. When Dillian White, wasn't you supposed to fight Luis Ortiz? You never answered that call, did you? So it's a lot of things going on, and people realize that. Just because it's black people that realize that, people are acting like, well, people are interested in that fight. Not really. No one is really interested in Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Not American black people. And let's make sure this is clear. All of the champions in America except Callum Plant, right, are black Americans. Most of them. And you have other, Mexican and Teofimo Lopez and those kind of guys. But most are predominantly black. What black people are watching is important. They try to act like it's not. But it is. So when there's no interest there at all, and that fight doesn't happen on English soil, that's going to be a flop unless they start acting right. And I think that's that's important that it's that way. Damn it, you're not watching that fight, are you? Unless you see justice served. And that's what's going to go down. Let's see what happens going forward. I'm going to come back with another video about Eddie Hearn and these sanctioning bodies because he wants to fight without sanctioning bodies, but he wasn't doing that the whole time. Now, was he? So we'll get to that too. But like I say, AJ versus Fury, I have a feeling that this is going to be a huge flop if they continue going down the path that they're going down as of right now. There will be repercussions. Donut Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.